Imagine picking up a rock and seeing the exact shape of a leaf or a shell from millions of years ago. This is what fossils are all about. Tiny glimpses of life that once existed, capturing and saved by nature. Today, we're not just going to talk about fossils. We're actually going to make our own fossil replicas. In this activity, we'll take something simple like a leaf or a seashell and turn it into a fossil that we can touch, observe, and keep. It's like time traveling with clay and plaster. No fancy machines needed. Ready to discover the secrets of ancient life? Let's dive into the world of fossil making and see how these tiny traces get preserved for ages.
Our objectives is first to understand how fossils are formed by making fossil replicas. Second is to learn about the materials and process used to create fossil impressions. Third is to observe and describe the texture and shape of fossils. The materials we use is clay, tree small cups, leaves or seashells, plaster of Paris, water, stirrer like a popsicle stick or spoon. For our procedure, first we prepare the clay. Take a small piece of clay and press it firmly into the bottom of each small cup, creating a smooth surface. Second is to make the impressions. Press a leaf or seashell into the clay in each cup. Gently press it down so it leaves a clear imprint, then carefully remove the leaf or shell. Third is to mix the plaster of Paris. In a separate container, mix plaster of Paris with water, following the instructions on the package. Stir well until you get a smooth mixture with no lumps. Fourth is to pour the plaster. Pour the plaster of Paris mixture over the clay imprint in each cup, covering the impression completely. Fifth, set and dry. Let the plaster harden for about 30 minutes or until fully dry. Once dry, carefully remove the plaster from the cups and peel off the clay. As for the last step, observe the fossil. You now have a plaster puzzle that shows the shape and texture of the original leaf or seashell. As for our result, the plaster has captured the details of the leaf or seashell impression, creating a fossil-like replica. Each plaster fossil shows the patterns, textures, and shapes left by the objects pressed into the clay. In this activity, we simulated how real fossils are formed. When an animal or plant is buried in sediment, it leaves an impression that hardens over time, preserving its shape. Here, we used clay to make an impression and plaster of Paris to lock in that shape, similar to how sedimentary layers preserve real fossils over millions of years. The details of the impressions, like leaf veins or shell ridges, were transferred to the plaster, showing how nature's textures can be preserved. This process helps us to understand how scientists find and study fossils to learn about animals and plants from the past. In conclusion, this experiment showed how impressions can be turned into fossils using plaster of Paris. Fossils help us learn about organisms that lived long ago, and by making our own, we see how nature can preserve even tiny details for millions of years. This activity helped us to see how fossils are more than just rocks. They are snapshots of life from another time.